at 50 miles an hour is where they have that. So we're going to track this out all the way into North Mississippi out here. Good morning to you if you're waking up with this Mississippi Live weather. We have a severe thunderstorm warning issued out here that includes Benton and Tippah County. So let's take it from where that heaviest of rainfall is, and we're going to track again all the way into portions of Benton and Tippah County, moving around 50 miles an hour. So here's a look at the latest track of that. Let me zoom out so you can kind of see everything all at once with me also here on the screen. So here's a look at that as it's going to be making its way through. Again, it's going to clip Benton and Tippah County. It also, if it holds together, is going to impact portions of Alcorn County. So in places like Moscow, that's Tennessee, but if you're watching us just across the state line, Moscow at 4:02 a.m., Hickory Valley around 4:08 a.m., into places like Grand Junction at 4:11, in places like Roger Springs 4:20, New Cannon 4:24, Hopewell 4:25, Middleton, this is still in places like Tennessee at 4:25. Brownsville, that's now right across the state line in portions of Tippah County at 4:27 a.m. Mount Moriah 4:27 a.m. into Hamilton around 4:29 a.m. Let me see if I can move things around a little bit here to get a better storm track out there for you that goes a little bit further in to North Mississippi. So let's see if we can get it to start a little bit further down the road so we get a little bit less of these Tennessee towns and a little bit more. Okay. That should do it a little bit. This pushes it really further in. So again, if this pushes all the way into places like Alcorn County and holds together, it's going to be in places like Hightown at 4:54 a.m., 4:54 a.m. for places like Biggersville, Job's around 4:56 a.m. So coming into places stretching into central Alcorn County around the 5 o'clock hour if this does hold together. And again, the main thing we're looking at is hail with this, but still some pretty decent wind as well. So keeping our eye on this storm that's right now right across the Tennessee state line. I'm going to pull up the chat just in case you guys are saying anything. Okay, so here's a look at that. Let me get a big picture view of what's going on out there this morning. That's our one severe thunderstorm warning, and we have more storms to deal with, not necessarily that are severe warned, but more to deal with. As you can see here, these are stretching right now really along I-40 from Forest City up into Memphis, stretching all the way into places like Fayette County, Tennessee, that's eventually going to be impacting our most northern counties first. You might have woken up to rumble or thunder or two. We have been tracking a few storms ahead of this main line, and you can see that here, this one impacting portions of Lafayette and Marshall County right now, stretching in between Abbeville and Holly Springs. So seeing this impacting places like Malone, Blackwater, Free Springs. This storm may be loud at times as if it's waking you up and you're tuning in with us this morning, and this in Marshall and Lafayette County, but it is below severe limits. So it's not something we're tracking in terms of severe weather out there this morning, even though it has a lot of lightning with it and probably some pretty decent heavy rainfall as well. Wouldn't be something I'd want to drive through along Highway 7 between Abbeville and Holly Springs. I'd let that pass if you could, because it is going to be creating some non-decent visibility, inhibit your visibility out there if you're traveling early out there at 4 a.m. this morning. Good morning to you. Here's why we're on. Okay, here's the severe thunderstorm warning. Also, I want to show you, let me back up, all these counties in blue under a tornado watch until 5 a.m. So you can see here that stretches from places like Mariona, Arkansas, West Helena, all the way down into a good portion of our counties as well. You can see there Tallahatchie County included in this, stretching all the way into places like Monroe County and those counties sitting off to the north. So still under a tornado watch this morning. Overall, the tornado threat much lower than it was yesterday evening. Of course, we're keeping an eye on things. I think the main two things we're going to be dealing with any storms that try to be on the severe side this morning are going to be wind and hail. So those are the main two things we are watching for out there this morning, even though that tornado watch is issued. Again, only one severe thunderstorm warning out there. We are seeing these showers and storms begin to creep over the state line. You can see there over in Alcorn County between Guys and Corinth, up in Alcorn County, starting to see these showers and storms make their way across the Tennessee state line this morning. That's going to continue over the next hour. So I will say, if you have an early morning commute that's 5, 6 a.m., you live closer to the Tennessee state line, it's probably going to be a wet go of things. And this rainfall, if it does hold together the strength that it's seeing now, it's not going to be fun to drive through as well. So I hear you guys saying Corinth, Corinth, thunder in Corinth. You're probably waking up with this. I know a lot of people are waking up with this if they hear thunder because it's 4 a.m. Not a lot of people up right now. Here's the thing about Corinth. We're seeing this storm that's going to be passing on the north side of Corinth. Right now, it is not severe, but it is loud. Again, these storms that aren't severe are still loud. So you're probably, yeah, waking up to some rumbles of thunder, just some heavy rainfall going to be passing through on the north side of Corinth. Nothing severe at this time. However, a severe thunderstorm is on its way if it does hold together to places like Corinth and Alcorn County more in the next hour. So here's a look at that again. Here's that severe thunderstorm warning, and it's why we're on right now sitting just across the state line in places like Moscow, Williston, and Somerville, Tennessee. If I look at our severe threats, take a look at that. It's still showing our main impact being hail, but still a lot of winds with this as well, and a lot of rain as it comes through. Another thing we can look at is our hail threat, sponsored by True Shield Roofing. Again, this did pack a punch as it pushed through Shelby County and Fayette County. This was looking at Tennessee out there this morning. It saw some hail pretty likely, and we saw some reports out there this morning, portions of Tennessee, of it dropping some hail as well as it made its way through places like Bartlett, Lakeland, Cordova. Again, that sits just across the state line, but this is moving southeast. So yes, it is eventually going to impact us here in North Mississippi. So taking a look at the reflectivity, going to go ahead and put another track on that. Make sure I'm not missing anything here in the National Weather Service chat. So let's put another track on that, shall we, and track it all the way into places like Alcorn County out there this morning. Have it moving about 50 miles an hour, continuing again into places like Alcorn County. Now let me move things around. I want to try to change this. This is picking up a lot of Tennessee towns. Because of course it's going to be impacting Tennessee before it impacts Mississippi, and still has its way to make it through Tennessee before it makes its way here. But I am going to try to force it to be a little bit further in. Let's make this the first city. Okay, so a little bit further in, still impacting and still saying places like Middleton. Let's see if we can make Middleton the first city, and that will help us out here this morning. Again, this is just saying a lot of cities over in places like Tennessee because that's where it's going to be going first. So I'm just trying to kind of force it. Okay, this is impacting a little bit more, or showing a little bit more of us. So in places like Brownsfield, you can see that here at 4:30. So really at the end of this warning, because it is at 4:30, it goes into effect until 4:30, making sure I'm giving you the right information out there. As it makes its way in, it's going to be around 4:30, crossing over the state line. So into places like Brownsville, 4:31 a.m., Hamilton, 4:32, Pocahontas, 4:33, into places like Cypress, 4:39, Tiplersville around 4:39, Cuba around 4:43, Theo around 4:44. And I know a lot of people were asking about Corinth, if that holds together. From what it was saying earlier, it looks to be around 5 a.m. And if I continue to push that forward into places like Kossuth around, here we go. Here's a little bit more that includes Corinth all the way down at the bottom. So into places like Kossuth around 4:50 a.m., Crow around 4:52, Allentown around 4:53, West Corinth around 4:54. So if this holds together, it is looking, and either way, it's going to be impacting you up over in Alcorn County. But if it holds together in terms of its severity, it's going to be impacting you and bringing some heavy rainfall, possibly some hail, and also some wind around 5 a.m. is when I would say it entering the picture over in Corinth, within the city of Corinth. So if you're not headed out until another hour, it's going to be a wet go of things over in Alcorn County, and also impacting, of course, the northern sections of Benton and Tippah County out there this morning as well. So that's what we're tracking. Again, making sure to keep an eye on the chat for all you guys have any questions. About Tupelo, I want to give you a zoomed out view. We're pretty zoomed in here to portions of the state, all the way in the northern portion of the state. You can see here Tupelo, not anything going on, right? We're seeing a few storms impacting portions of Lafayette and Marshall County. We've seen a few storms passing ahead of the main line that have not been severe out there this morning. So if you're waking up with us, maybe you woke up to rumble of thunder or two in Tate County, Panola County, over now in Marshall and Lafayette County, going into places like Pontotoc and Union County, not dealing with any severe storms out here. Again, that storm right there below severe limits, packing a punch as it moves through. Not something I'd want to be driving through by any means, but it's below severe limits, just crossed over Highway 7 and still seeing, again, a portion of it, kind of a cluster there, continuing to cross over Highway 7 just north of Abbeville. So continuing to watch this as well. Not saying it couldn't still see some small hail with it. You can see these peak impacts right along Malone and Highway 7 between Abbeville and up into places like Holly Springs. If you're traveling along 7 this morning, going to be dealing with that. And you can see our peak impacts picking up a little bit of hail with this. Again, it usually overdoes it a little bit. It looks more in the storm. Once that hail falls, it's always smaller. It melts a little bit, but still could be giving off some small hail as it passes through places like Malone between, again, Abbeville and Holly Springs. So if you know anybody that's traveling along there, I would tell them to give it a few minutes if you can. This is not going to be something to drive through. If you get under this heaviest pocket as you move through, you're probably going to have to at least get over on the side of the road because it's going to create visibility concerns. So still could be dropping some small hail between just north of Abbeville. And also, if we stretch a little bit further off to the east, coming into Bethlehem, could see a little bit of hail as well. But again, below severe limits, but that's what's happening over a little bit south of the storm that we're tracking along the Tennessee state line between Marshall and Lafayette County. That's not severe. The storm over in Alcorn County that might be waking you up is also not severe, but a lot of lightning with it, right? It's loud, it's waking you up. It's a lot of rainfall. It's not something that's great to drive through, and I'd let it pass through if you could before you get to point A to point B this morning. But still, we're seeing that severe thunderstorm warning issued for places like Benton and Tippah County because of the storm that's over just across the state line out there this morning. Okay, I'm just checking the National Weather Service chat out there this morning. They are saying in terms of the tornado watch, they're planning to let the rest of the watch continue until 5 a.m. when it was originally planned to expire. Overall, things have continued to trend downward. So that's a good sign that they're saying out there this morning. Again, we are seeing a tornado watch out there. You can see those counties indicated in blue. So that's what they're talking about. Tornado watch is all the way into places like Tallahatchie County, Yalobusha County, Calhoun County, Chickasaw County, over into Monroe County, and those counties sitting off to the north out there this morning. And it was set to expire at 5 a.m. And what they're saying is they're going to be letting it expire at 5 a.m. They're not going to be necessarily expiring it early. They're just going to let it expire on time. And they're also saying things have continued to trend downward. So that's some good news out there as well this morning. So that tornado watch, again, going into places at 5 a.m. It's going to be going in or letting it rest. They're going to be letting it expire at 5 a.m. Going to check up with the chat to make sure I have everything under control out here this morning. Ramsey Skycam pointed at severe storm. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and show that out here this morning. So one good thing that we have here at Mississippi Live Weather is cameras, right? And we get to see the ground truth a little bit sooner than later, especially when folks are not out and about. Here's a look over in Corinth. This is not necessarily in Corinth. It's in Alcorn County, sitting south of Corinth. This camera is near the Rienzi area, if you're familiar with that. And this is looking at that severe storm. So thank you for James Bishop up early with us this morning from the North Mississippi Storm Chasers, showing us this. Again, they have this pointed off to the north and west, looking at that severe storm out here that's going to be impacting portions of Alcorn County as we head really into the next hour. I don't think this is going to be hitting Corinth or Rienzi until we head till around 5 a.m. this morning. So that's a look at that this morning. Thanks again for showing that. And we're keeping an eye on it. I was trying to see if we can see any lightning from that. It is a pretty electric storm off to the north and west, but again, still pretty far from them as well. Still seeing that about an hour out, but we're going to be keeping an eye on this camera as that gets closer and closer to places like Alcorn County. You can see it off in the distance. Also could probably see that might be that storm that's sitting just to the north of Corinth as well. So a lot of things going on to the north of Corinth out there this morning, and to the north of Benton and Tippah County. A lot of lightning. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning that is issued as well. As for temperatures, temperature-wise, 70 degrees in Corinth. Good morning to you. It is warm out there. You can see that lightning off at the distance. Feels like 72. Dew point in the 60s out there this morning. So it's definitely a warm start overall to your day ahead. And James said he hasn't been to sleep yet. You might need to get some rest before we gear up for the rest of the day because we got more things on the way, right? We're tracking storms out there this morning. I'm going to switch this back over to our Mama Justice Doppler radar. We're tracking storms out there this morning. Yes, that could be on the severe side of things, but we've got more to deal with later on today. So even after these storms push through, after they're looking to weaken really in the next few hours and they make their way into the area, this is not the one and done situation you're looking at. These are not the severe storms, or really the only severe storms that we're tracking out there for your Tuesday. We've got another round coming with the cold front that we've been pretty concerned about over the last few days this evening. So around dinner time is when we're going to be watching the next set of severe storms push through AFO. It's definitely going to be a long day here in the Mississippi Live Weather Department. I encourage you to keep up with the forecast. Of course, they went and canceled that warning that clipped Benton and Tippah County. Again, these storms, like they said, kind of taking a downward trend out there this morning in terms of severity. That doesn't mean they're not loud. You can see that lightning total strikes if I move my head behind me. 2,000 and everything pictured here. So all of these storms that you see here on our Mama Justice Doppler radar, seeing a lot of lightning as they make their way through. Probably going to wake you up this morning if you're not already woken up, or wake maybe your neighbors up, because if you're waking up, you're obviously tuning in with us. But definitely going to be waking folks up as they make their way through this morning. Right now, just clipping the Tennessee and Mississippi state line. So they're just now making their way in. The good news is they have seen a downward trend. So we saw some potentially large hail out of these in places like Shelby County out there this morning. They continued that severe thunderstorm warning into places like Benton and Tippah County. That's why we were on with you. They just canceled that because things are looking a little bit better. And that's some good news out here. But that doesn't mean we let our guard down. And that doesn't mean we're still not going to see some very heavy rainfall as this makes its way through. So here's that big line that we're watching. And let me loop this over the last hour. You can see it continuing move off to the south and east out here this morning. So these line of showers and storms are going to continue to push into North Mississippi as we head over the next hour and continue to make your morning commute pretty wet out there. So even if you're tuning in with us early because you were woken up, these are just now moving into the state. So they are going to continue to impact us as we head over the next few hours. I'm going to check the chat here to make sure I'm not missing anything. I know somebody was asking when storms are going to get severe today. We are keeping our eye on these right now. They're all currently in North Mississippi below severe limits, so that's some good news. We're going to continue to watch these as they make their way through, but we have more storms to deal with today, and I want to go over that before I kind of let you go this morning because there's no severe thunderstorm warning issued. Here's a look at our overall severe weather risk out here for your Tuesday. Now, this is talking about afternoon and evening storms, not about things out here necessarily this morning. So here's a look at that. Level 3 enhanced risk. Let me put this on the right side of my screen. I like to point with my right hand in case you guys are wondering. You got to put it on the right side of the screen to be able to point with your right hand. Here's a look at your severe weather risk out here for your Tuesday. An enhanced risk, it sits in places like Dallas, Texas, Shreveport, Fort Smith, Little Rock, good portion of the state of Arkansas under that slight risk. That also you can see extends down into places like North Mississippi. So let's zoom in and talk about who's under that enhanced versus slight risk out there this morning. Either way, we need to be staying weather aware, but I just want to show you exactly who's under what out here this morning, give you a little bit of an update. Again, this is our severe weather risk for today, an enhanced risk impacting portions of Tate County, DeSoto, Marshall County, that stretches all the way down into the Golden Triangle region, portions of Oktibbeha, Lowndes County, and Noxubee County, and those who are sitting off closer to the river. Now, those who aren't in that enhanced risk are under a slight risk today. So either way, all of us under some type of risk out there and watching for storms out there this evening. Somebody asked, what should we expect in northern Marshall County towards the state line right now? Okay, we're going to talk about storms this evening, and then I'll show you one more look at your Mama Justice Doppler radar. I just want to give you an updated look at what Futurecast is looking like this morning. These storms that we're tracking out that are along the Tennessee state line are going to continue to make their way in. Now, I think they're probably going to be below severe limits this morning. They're kind of weakening as they're pushing in. Doesn't mean they're not going to be loud. Doesn't mean you're not going to have trouble driving through these. And no, we're not seeing any school closings today. Somebody's asking that. I'll show you why. These storms are going to be weakening as they make their way through. Then we're going to see a little bit of a lull in the day. Doesn't mean we couldn't see some heavy downpours in your afternoon hours, but we're watching the evening. So I'm thinking 3, 4 o'clock, we start to see a few more heavy downpours make their way in, maybe producing some hail out there. But take a look off to the west. These are the storms that we are concerned with later on in the day. This is why that enhanced risk has been given for a good portion of our area. So this is at 3 p.m., still seeing that heaviest of rain over there west of the Mississippi River. That's going to continue to pour in around dinner time. So any dinner time plans, 4, 5 o'clock for Northwest Mississippi, 6, 7, 8 o'clock through the heart of our area in places like Marshall County, New Albany, Oxford, Bruce, Eupora, Kosciuszko. You can see these very heavy rainfalls. This still seems to be a concerning wind event. Models have been pretty consistent at showing a line of wind kind of moving in, still seeing that here within this run of the HRRR that we're showing out there this morning. Showing this model because it is initializing best right now with the storms this morning. You want to know how to pick a model. You trust it when it says what's going on right now. And it's being good this morning, showing where the storms are. So we're looking at it, what's saying this evening. So again, those storms looking to push through around your dinner time hours, still looking to be a pretty decent wind event as this makes its way in, bringing some very strong wind gusts as it does. Looking to be over with as you're heading to bed. That is some good news out there. Now, I'm not saying we're still not going to see some rain overnight, but that overall severe weather threat starts to wane around 10, 11 o'clock, midnight tonight. Not necessarily an overnight event to be keeping your guard up like we had you do tonight because of these severe storms right now. So that's going to continue to make its way off on your Wednesday. We're waking up to some rain out there, and we can still see some heavier pockets to our south on your Wednesday afternoon. You can see here some kind of clusters of storms moving through Wednesday afternoon, mainly for folks that are south of 82. I think everybody else remains pretty quiet out there for your Wednesday. So that is an overall look at your futurecast on your day-to-day and through your Wednesday. Main threats that we're watching for, storm threats today, isolated tornadoes possible, but still I think the main thing that we're going to be tracking out this evening and afternoon is right here. The highest confidence level other than the rain is that damaging wind gusts possible, because models, especially high resolution models, have continued to be consistent on those storms pushing out some pretty strong winds as they make their way through this afternoon and evening. So I think that's the number one thing we're going to be watching. Obviously, hail possible as well. Also, multiple rounds of heavy rainfall. We are dealing with the rain this morning. We're going to be dealing with more this evening. So I continue to encourage you to avoid those roadways. We say this all the time, are flooded easily. I might not know every single one of them, but I know you do. So here's a look right now what's going on our Mama Justice Doppler radar, making sure I'm not missing anything from our National Weather Service chat. Again, not seeing any school closings today, and I wouldn't expect any because these storms are looking to roll through as we head into your afternoon and evening. So keep an eye on everything out there this morning, making sure I have everything, all the latest information given by the National Weather Service chat. I'm going to make sure to keep that open as well, see if they're going to be issuing any type of new severe thunderstorm warning or anything like that. Currently, we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings. However, good morning if you're just waking up with us. It's Tuesday, 4:20 a.m. We don't see any severe thunderstorm warnings right now. That doesn't mean we're not seeing some heavy and strong storms. We're also seeing a tornado watch still into effect for portions of the area that stretches all the way down to Monroe County, places like Calhoun County, over in Yalobusha County, Tallahatchie County, and those that are sitting off to the north of that. National Weather Service said they are going to let this expire at 5 a.m. So this watch goes into effect for another 40 minutes, and it'll expire at 5 a.m., that tornado watch out here this morning. Other than that, we're not tracking anything. They did just issue a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's for Tennessee. So keep an eye on that, and I'll show you where they issue that when that pops up on our system. But overall, again, things below severe limits. Here's where they issued that, up in Tennessee, in places like Henderson, off into Clifton. Again, this is north, of course, of the Tennessee state line, north of McNairy County that touches the Tennessee-Mississippi state line as well. So that's where they've issued that warning. We're watching this storm right here still being very heavy. It's below severe limits, but it just passed through, and we talked about it if you've been with us, passed through Highway 7 from Holly Springs to Abbeville, just north of Abbeville, probably dumping some small hail as it did. Now it's making its way closer to 22 between Hickory Flat and Myrtle. So keeping an eye on that out there this morning along 22, again from New Albany up into places like Potts Camp. So if you're traveling along 22, if you know anybody that's traveling along 22, their morning commute consists of that between New Albany and Holly Springs. But even specifically, if I zoom in here between Myrtle and Hickory Flat, we are seeing some very heavy rain passing through. Let's take a look at our severe threats. Could be dumping some small hail out there as well. Not seeing any hail threat or hail tracker on our hail threat from True Shield Roofing, but still possibly seeing some small hail. I think the main impact is just going to be out of this as it its way through, but still creating visibility concerns. Still not great to drive through out there this morning as that makes its way through again between Myrtle and Hickory Flat along 22. So that's the heaviest of storms we have. Again, maybe trying to dump some hail on the backside of this just south of Cornersville. Let's take a look at our severe threats on that. Yeah, seeing a little bit of that. Let's see what it's tracking it at. Maybe a ½ inch size. Again, this always overdoes it a little bit, but could see some pea-sized hail dumping out of this system just south of Cornersville out there, where you can kind of see those purples showing up on our Mama Justice Doppler radar. So some small hail out there this morning. That's our heaviest storm that we're looking at, that we're keeping our eye on. Again, it's below severe limits. That doesn't mean it's not loud. That doesn't mean it doesn't create visibility concerns, but that's what we're looking like this morning. Big picture view. No severe thunderstorm warning issued here in North Mississippi. If you've been on with us since we started at 4 a.m., we had a severe thunderstorm warning issued for places like Benton and Tippah County. That storm has weakened. It is still loud. It's still hefty out there as it's making its way across the Tennessee state line. But overall, the severe threat has dropped, and that is why that severe warning has been dropped as well. These are going to continue to make their way in as they currently are. As I loop this over the last hour, you can see those moving off to the south and east. So they're going to continue to make their way into North Mississippi as we head over the next hour. So even if your morning commute, I've said this over and over again, doesn't consist until the next hour, that's what we're really looking at things moving in to North Mississippi, impacting places like DeSoto, Marshall, Benton, Tippah, Alcorn County, more in full force this morning as these storms continue to drop in. And we're going to continue, of course, to monitor them as well. Keeping an eye on the chat out there this morning, just making sure you guys aren't asking anything, or I'm not missing anything out there this morning. So yeah, that's a full update at that. I want to zoom out and kind of show you big picture. I want to show you even bigger picture of what we're looking at least this morning out there. Here's a look at satellite and radar on a very regional view instead of kind of that zoomed in view we've been seeing. Storms ongoing that we're tracking here in places like northeastern Arkansas and northwest Tennessee that are pushing into North Mississippi. But you can see these storms reach all the way through the state of Tennessee, up into Kentucky, up into the Virginias. And it's this front that we're watching. This cold front is what's driving these storms, kind of pushing out ahead of it. It's going to continue to push through the day. And then we're going to be tracking more strong to severe storms as we head later on in the day into your afternoon and evening hours that are going to be also packing a punch. And that's why we're also seeing that severe weather risk out here for your day ahead. That enhanced risk does extend into North Mississippi. It also extends all the way into portions of Arkansas, down into Jackson, Mississippi, Shreveport, Monroe, into Dallas, Texas as well. So keeping an eye on things now, but also especially into your evening. Here's the main thing we're going to be watching for. I said this earlier, but probably damaging wind gusts going to be our #1 threat as things move in today. Still could see some spotty large hail, isolated tornado possible as well, especially for northwest Mississippi yet again today. But I think our main threat is going to be remaining that damaging wind threat out there this morning. So making sure I'm keeping up with National Weather Service chat. Still not seeing any severe thunderstorm warn cell out there. So I'm probably going to let you guys go for a little bit. If anything is issued, of course, we'll be right back here. Again, that tornado watch does extend until 5 a.m. and then they're going to be letting that expire. Going to take a look at that Alcorn County camera as well. Again, this is pointed towards those severe storms out there this morning. This is near the Rienzi area. Warm out there. This is what a lot of people are dealing with out there if you're not just at that Tennessee state line or in places that are seeing that spot shower this morning. Waking up to warm conditions, temperatures near 70 degrees. and even dealing with a lot of, at least looking at a lot of lightning, maybe hearing it as well if you're closer to the Tennessee state line. I saw somebody said thunder in Ecru, thunder in New Albany, probably waking up out here this morning to some thunder. But again, everything currently below severe limits out there this morning. Someone asked, I went to bed late, woke up around 3. Am I good to go back to sleep in Tupelo? I believe you're good to go back to sleep. We're tracking these severe storms going to be rolling through places that are sitting closer to the Tennessee state line in the next hour, so impacting portions of Tupelo a little bit later than that. We'll say the only thing that's not up at the Tennessee state line that we're looking at is this storm right here that's going to be passing along Hickory Flat and near Myrtle as well. And you can see there kind of that deepest of purples. That's what we're tracking for the potential of some small hail out of this. Again, below severe limits. They have not issued a severe thunderstorm warning on this between Cornersville and Darden right now. That's going to be passing along 22 close to Myrtle. Could be dumping out some small hail. As you can see here, our peak impacts picking up on that. Let me get my words together this morning, trying to do multiple things at once. Picking up on maybe an inch size hail. Again, this usually overdoes it. It's probably around pea to dime size hail out there, but still could be dumping out some small hail as it makes its way through. Not going to be fun to drive through. You don't want to drive in hail impacting portions of your car. So if you know anybody that's going to be passing along 22 close to Myrtle out there this morning, I would tell them to give it a few minutes, let this storm pass, and then they can make their way out. So that's the storm that we're watching again here in North Mississippi, that's sitting really close to Myrtle, between Darden and Myrtle right now. That's going to be passing along 22. Zooming out, that's our heaviest storm at the moment, along with these storms that are making their way into places like DeSoto County out there this morning along 22. So if you're tracking along 22 all the way to the Memphis state line, you got to let go of things at least for a few minutes here if you get closer to the Tennessee state line between Olive Branch and Fairhaven out there this morning as well. So don't want to discount that. Heavy rain moving into places like DeSoto and Marshall County out there this morning. Just everything right now remaining below severe limits, and let's hope it stays that way as well. So that's a big picture view of your Mama Justice Doppler radar out there this morning. Again, people asking if they need to be worried. Everything below severe limits right now. I get that it's loud. I get that it's waking you up. It's a lot of lightning associated with all these storms. So as they pass through, they probably are going to be waking folks up, and they are loud. And that is usually something we're concerned with when they have a lot of lightning. But here's the thing, they're below severe limits in terms of wind and hail right now. So that is some good news out there, even though they're so loud. You know, when we hear loud storms, we get a little bit concerned, especially if we're waking up. But right now, everything's sitting below severe limits. So that's some good news out there. So that's your update as of 4 a.m. Good morning to you. I'm going to let you go, get things ready and rolling here. We'll be live at 6:30, if not before then. As if there's any severe thunderstorm warning issued before then, of course, we will be the first to let you know. Might give you a live update before the 6:30 hour hits. But for Mississippi Live Weather, I'm meteorologist Maggie McCauley. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Again, we'll be live at 6:30, if not before then.